Welcome back, everybody. It's another episode of Between the Ears here on this fine Saturday morning. Schuyler Callihan here with Mountaineers Now and SI Fan Nation channel. And today we're going to talk a little about the best kept secrets on this West Virginia football team. Now, I think you could argue probably for two of the three that a lot of people probably already know who these guys are, whether it's within the fan base or across the country. But they really haven't. None of these three have really produced at this level at a very, very high level yet. Some of them for obvious reasons than others, but we're going to go ahead and get right on into it. So we're going to start on the offensive side because that's I only got one guy on that side of the ball. When you look at West Virginia's offense, returning the entire starting offensive line. We know about the quarterback battle that's going on. We know about the depth of the running back room. But there's one guy on this offense that not a lot of people are talking about, and it might be a good thing, and that is Noah Massey, the wide receiver from Angelo State. And you're probably thinking, Skylar, what the hell? Like, why are we talking about this D2 transfer? Well, he's intriguing first and foremost. I mean, just his overall stature, 6'4". I know that the university has him listed at 6'3", but I mean he's as close to 6'4" as you could get, and sitting at like 238, 239 pounds for a wide receiver to have that kind of a body, and have the skill set that he has. It's almost unfair. You're putting a tight end body and a wide receiver skill set, combining it and throwing him outside. So it's interesting how he came together here. But they're going to play him a little bit inside and outside. He's going to play some slides. He's going to play on the perimeter. But this is a true mismatch for a lot of teams. They're not going to have the bodies to go up and cover Noah Massey consistently. Now, is he going to be a 40, 50, 60 catch guy? Probably not. He's going to be used in certain situations, but it does give whoever wins that quarterback battle, assuming it's Garrett Green, but whoever wins that quarterback battle, it gives them a security blanket. It gives them a guy that if they got pressure coming up in their face, they can just throw the ball up and over the middle of the field and feel pretty good about their chances, even in tight coverage. So Noah Massey was very productive at Angelo State. He started his career at Bowling Green. He transferred down, became an all-conference player there at the D2 level. And he was more of a somewhat of a late add for this West Virginia roster, but he is very, very good. Again, is he going to be a 40, 50, 60 catch guy? No. But he will make his plays. He will have his mark on this offense. And it's going to be fun to watch him because of how big, but how quick he moves for how big he is. So that's my one guy on the offensive side. Going over to the defensive side, I'm going with Anthony Wilson. And yes, I'm stealing a little bit of Jed Drenning's thunder here, but that's okay. I loved this kid's tape. I loved him anyway. High level producer at Georgia Southern. And as Jed was talking about in the gun the other day, just a very physical presence for how small he is. He packs a punch. He is willing to get involved and is just someone who's all over the field. And that's something that West Virginia really hasn't had at that back end or in that back end for quite a few years now. So to have that presence back there is huge. He's got the experience. Communication is going to be huge, especially when you have a lot of these younger corners like Jacoby Spells and Andrew Wilson-Lampier really starting to get their first taste of significant playing time. You need to have that communication on key. Anthony Wilson can help with that, and he's going to help in many ways, but very willing tackler. And I mean, you could probably argue the best tackler on this team outside of Lee Kova. But obviously in space, there's no one better. I don't think on this defense that's better tackling in space than Anthony Wilson. He's still battling for that safety spot. I think we can all assume that he's going to win that job, but very talented kid. Think he's going to do really good things. And then lastly, staying on the defensive side, going to the defensive line, and I'm going with somebody that has played a little bit, but has really not held a big time role just yet. That changes this year with Eddie V. Edward Vistorina. This kid is something. We saw back in his recruiting days when he was posting videos on Twitter all the time of him doing all these creative workouts over in his native homeland, and it was just really cool to see the work ethic that Eddie V had, and that has followed him over here to the States. And when you talk about some of these international kids, you always wonder, or you're curious, that when they come over, how much of a difference is it for them? Not just football speaking, but you're talking life, just everyday life. How different is it for them? Is it a big adjustment for them? How can they handle that adjustment mentally? Do they, with their family being so far away, you have to take that into consideration as well. But in terms of football, I mean, he was playing against grown men, and he said it last week. I think he said I was playing against older guys that were strong, but they were not in the best shape, and they weren't all that fast, and it took a little while for him to adjust, and that's to be expected. But for his technique and his fundamentals to be so crisp and so clean, that just shows how dedicated Eddie V is to perfecting his craft and being a very good player at this level. And I mean, when you flipped on the tape back in his high school days, okay, you could see some certain things that you're like, okay, there's something there to work with. There technique wise, it's okay. It's not like when you bring him here, you're gonna have to start from scratch. No, I mean he was coached up fairly well, but there's a lot that needed tending to. And when he got here, he spent the first year or two really kind of cleaning up some of those things. And now he's probably one of the most technically sound players on the defensive line. We've heard it from just about everybody about how well versed he is in that area of the game, and how much of a growth, or how much growth that he's had just technically. And I think this year we're going to see him really take that next step and just being from going uh, and not just being technically sound, but now he's going to go out there and make some plays, because I think the last couple of years he was really just focused on staying in his gap, having good gap discipline, and not overplaying things, and making sure his hand placement was right, working on moves and working on his strike, his pad level. And now you can factor all that in and now go make plays. I think we're going to see him get to the quarterback a few more times. I think we're going to see him make more plays behind the line of scrimmage. But more importantly, because he has to. I mean, you don't have Dante Stills, you don't have Jordan Jefferson, you don't have Taj Alston. So somebody along that defensive line's got to step up. And I think it could be Eddie V. The guy's the most consistent, as I said. And when you are playing that well, that consistently, you're probably going to make some plays. So that right there, those are my three. I don't know if you want to call them best kept secrets, but maybe the three most underrated players on this West Virginia roster. Again, wide receiver Noah Massey, 6'4", 240 pounds, versatile, inside outside guy, can do a little bit of everything, a mismatch problem. Safety Anthony Wilson, coming in from Georgia Southern, who's got a load of experience and has a lot of physicality to his game. And then you have Eddie V, Mr. Consistent up front on that defensive line, who's going to be turning into just more than a gap holder this year. He's going to burst through those gaps and make some plays in the backfield. So those are my three, and that's it for today's episode on Between the Ears. Be sure to hit subscribe on YouTube at Mountaineers Now, and follow us on Twitter at Mountaineers Now. You can follow me at Callihan_. And thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you back here tomorrow on Between the Ears.